Okay, we're going to switch to English now because we're sitting here with RGNT Motorcycles, which are presenting electric motorcycles from Sweden. And we're sitting here with Eric, and he's going to tell us all about the brand, the motorcycle, and why are you here?
Yeah, why we're here right now is a totally different questions, but we are here at Meet the Makers and we want to present the RGNT brand. It's a Swedish brand. We've been around for 3.5 years approximately, and we're here presenting our new generation 2.0, which is the third one in our development line.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so maybe first to start the talk between us, can you please introduce RGNT Motorcycles? How did the brand come up? How did you start? And just where did RGNT get the initial idea?
I'll give you some nice storytelling.
Of course, perfect.
Yeah.
So you're the perfect guy for this.
Yeah, it started with our founder and former CEO, also a Swedish guy named Jonathan Ostrom.
Yeah.
He went to Beijing with another startup company to actually look into electrical bicycles.
Yeah.
And he saw a lot of Vespas and scooters driving around in the Beijing streets with the hub motor, which we have incorporated in our bikes. But to be honest, he thought they looked like shit.
Yeah.
So he was trying to figure out why haven't anyone done a electrical vehicle with a classic retro look.
Yeah.
So we actually bought one from China. And he started tinkering.
Bike or?
No, he just bought the motor.
Okay, the hub engine.
Yeah, the hub engine. And he started tinkering in his own garage.
Yeah.
And then he reached out to a lot of friends who knew more about building bikes than he did.
Okay.
And then he presented the first RGNT 1.0 at a fair up in Stockholm.
Okay.
Just as a passion project, besides what he was normally doing. And he saw there was a lot of interest in an electrical, classic-looking retro bike.
Yeah.
And there were people like, can I buy this? Because I want to drive it in Germany, I want to drive it in Spain, I want to drive it in Italy, and even in Sweden.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, this is not for sale, it's not legal, so you can't drive it, it's only a passion project.
Okay.
But then again, he started thinking, and it was like, maybe there's some business in this. So he quit his old job, put in some money, and started building more and more of these classical motors. And from that, what evolved from that is our 1.0, which was our early prototype models. And that we got legislated and approved by Idee in Spain, who does all the homologation for the EU bikes.
Okay, all right.
And the 1.0 evolved into our 1.5s.
This is the bike we can see over there, right?
Yeah, the 1.5s is the earlier models where we listen to the consumers and we listen to the dealerships that you have to switch the suspension, you have to switch the hub engine, you have to have more power in it. So we listen to that, and what evolved from that is the 1.5. So you can basically say that we did 2 prototype models, and that one evolved into the 2.0, which we are hoping that we can mass produce during this year and next year, and be something that we can actually build upon.
Okay.
But RGNT is always going to have a classic and a scrambler.
Yeah.
It's only going to be an evolving platform. Because Jonathan's greatest passion in life was actually the Porsche, the older Porsche.
Yeah.
So they had the same idea of having an evolving platform. So the first 3 Porsches were fantastic. And that's what we're aiming to do here as well.
Okay, right. So evolution and revolution, and not building anything new every single time. So I think it's quite impressive that the company exists since 3.5 years, and you already have the third model evolved. So how long does it take to develop a bike? Can you say this approximately, or is it quite different?
For a bigger company, it takes around 2 years, which is fair enough. But we did the 2.0 development in 6 to 8 months.
Crazy.
Which is too short, but we learned a lot doing this. And actually, when we did the homologation for the first bike, we were actually the fastest company through the entire homologation.
Okay.
And even Idee was surprised about us doing it so fast.
I guess so. Do you have any contacts, any special contacts there? Do you drink whiskey with them or something?
Nothing like that. No. We just came there, and the R&D team, they started tinkering with the bikes and fixed the smaller errors that actually arose. And now with the 2.0, it was like, no worries, we've done this before, we can do it again.
Okay.
Yeah, and we had more development time on the 2.0 than we had on the earlier models. So we're actually done. I think it's only paperwork that we have to actually figure out, but the start of production on the 2.0 is going to be in September, so we have some time to do it.
Okay, so at the end of the year the bike is at the dealers and we can buy it.
Yeah, hopefully.
And what in your opinion or your experience was the biggest challenge of building an electric motorcycle as a rather small company?
It's actually the man hours that you have to put in, because the R&D team is like 10 or something. In a bigger company there's 30 or 40 or 50 or 100, but you need specific competences to do each bike. So we have people working on the software, it's only two people. And working on the battery is only one guy. Okay. And working on all the designs, the drawings that we send to the suppliers for the frame, for instance, if one guy gets sick, the whole production stops. Okay. We can't develop even more. And if the guy on the battery engineering side, if he gets sick, we can't do anything. So that's the biggest challenge of being a small company with low in staff.
Yeah. And the design, we're talking about a very classical setup here, tubular frame, chrome tan, classical layout. In what terms was it difficult to stick with the classic scheme and put this big battery engine unit in there without it looking awkward?
Yeah, it's challenging when you actually design this part, but the inspiration behind it is from the old classic Triumph Bonneville or the old Hondas, but we want to mix the retro classical feeling with a high technology bike, because what we can see from the car development that it actually has to come to the bikes as well. We can't say no to the electrical.
But the problem with the motorcycles compared to cars, in a car you have a lot of things to cover up the engine. Yeah. With the motorcycle you don't, especially with classical motorcycles. With modern motorcycles there's a lot of fairing, you can cover things up, but it's totally exposed here.
Yeah, so. It is. Yeah. It's in terms of what you actually like to see and what you don't like to see, but our crown jewel is the battery casing. And that we actually do in Sweden. It's sand-casted aluminum and it really pops on pictures and when you're out driving on the street. So if you should place this outside a cafe or something, the first thing they notice is actually the battery, which is what we thought actually going to be our crown jewels as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
And also in my eyes, one big plus point is the hub engine, which reminds me of the old drum brakes you have from the classical bike. So it's no disc brake, but it's the old classical look in between this new technology.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we're going for. We want to have a harmony between the old classic style and the new techie stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you did this very, very great and very well, because I think the lines are matching perfectly to the old bikes and the old spirit. And I just talked to Thomas before in our talk with Crooked Motorcycles. They are trying to rebuild those classical lines with the lining on the tank and the round light in the front, and this is exactly the design scheme and the design line you are talking with your bikes.
Yeah, we have a lot of talented people in our R&D department who really likes the old classical stuff, as you can see.
So, obviously,
yeah,
absolutely.
And it turns out they were right. There's not only our R&D team that likes the classical look, because we can see that we get a lot of eyes on it, on the classical look from the older generation.
Yeah.
But the newer generation, they look at the HMI, because there's where the technology actually is.
Maybe let's talk about this. So Thomas told me you have a special app, a RGNT app for this. How does it work, or how does the bike interact with the user, with the driver?
Actually, we want to bring people into a RGNT community to actually see other drivers who have a RGNT bike, but also the electrical stuff should be hassle-free.
Yeah.
You shouldn't have to maintain this one. Of course, you have to switch the brakes and you have to switch the tires. But other than that, it should be maintenance free. And with the app, you can see where your bike is located. You can see how the battery feels, if you have to charge it, or if you winter storage it, you can get a ping on your phone, but hey, you have to charge your battery because it's starting to deteriorate.
Okay.
It's starting to feel bad. You have to maintenance load it. And that's the biggest thing for us, that you have to maintain an electrical vehicle in a different way than a combustion engine.
I think this is a way of learning and a process of learning for the customers.
Yeah, of course. But they have to look at it not as a vehicle, but something that needs power.
Yeah.
You charge your phone every night, maybe you should charge your bike every night. Yeah. Or in some kind of different intervals, but maybe you should charge your bike once a month to actually have the battery feel as good as it can, so you can have a longer lifespan on the bike as well.
Okay. So you provide a maintenance service via app, so you can have tips and in exchange in this region community. Yeah.
Of course, we're going to have a user manual for everyone and how to maintain your battery, which is like the hygiene factors around it. Because if you're new to this, there's going to be a bit of a challenge at first, but as soon as you get used to it, charge your bike. It's as easy as that.
Speaking of wanting to own this bike, how is your dealership structure for Germany? If you want somebody here to meet the makers decides, okay, I want to buy this bike. Yeah. How does this go about? Does he order online? How does this bike being delivered? What is if he has some mechanical issues beside the battery? How do you cover that?
Yeah. Basically, what we do, you can order the bike straight from us, and we do a drop shipment wherever you are in Europe, because it's a European bike and it's legislated for European roads. Or you can go into your local dealership and talk to the guy you know, and he can go into our platform, order a bike, and we deliver it to the local dealer. And the local dealer is educated in how to do the basic stuff in terms of switching the brakes and switching the tires and so on. Should you have a problem with the battery, we can see what type of problem you have from our end in Sweden. Okay. We're actually connected to the bikes, so we can see how the battery feels. Yeah. Okay. Let's say we sell to a consumer in Italy where we don't have a dealership, and the bike breaks down for some reason. Then we actually go to him and help him out. We've done it on many occasions.
Okay.
We had a few of the first bike we actually delivered to Monaco.
Yeah.
And we didn't have a dealer in that vicinity. So I think he had a problem with the battery and he couldn't start the bike. And in those specific cases, you have to reboot it with a special computer.
Yeah.
So 2 guys flew in, fixed the bike. The next day you could drive it.
Crazy, that's very good service, because I guess some customers are really maybe afraid of buying an electrical bike, because if your phone has a problem, you can restart it and everything is fine, but with the bike it's not that easy.
No, it's not that easy. There are some tips and tricks that only we know, that the consumer shouldn't know, to actually reboot the bike and do a hard reset. Yep. But a lot of times we actually hook up with the consumer via FaceTime or Skype or Teams or something, and we guide them through it. And some people actually like that experience, that they get to tinker on their own bike with our help.
I think that's a quite good idea and a revolutionary idea, because normally you don't have a wrench in your garage and the mechanic tells you via phone what to do. And I think this is matching the new technology of this bike.
Yeah, it also like kind of matches the feeling of tinkering on an old bike. The bike looks old but is new, but still
have to do something.
You feel the need to urge, so I want to do something. I want to understand how the bike works.
And you want to learn more about the thing you bought, which is a nice experience.
Cool.
Yeah.
Maybe let's talk about facts. The data sheet of the bike.
Okay.
How long is the range? Which power and which torque can we expect, or what are the hard facts which you can tell us about the bike?
We're only going to talk about the 2.0.
Yeah.
Because the 1.5s, they're all sold out.
Okay, right.
But for the 2.0, the official testing from Idee in Spain, we have 148 kilometers, plus or minus 1.
Yeah.
And that is based on light city driving, fast city driving, and country road.
Okay.
But if you go full torque on the highway, obviously you're not going to go 148 kilometers.
Yeah, of course.
And in terms of the weather outside, if it's windy or if you're a bit heavy in weight, it's going to affect the bike.
Yeah.
But the official numbers is 148.
Okay.
And it's an 11 kilowatt bike, so it's an A1, so it's a light motorcycle.
Yep.
So in some countries you can actually drive this with a car license. But for the new one, we have 3 different riding modes. We have range, we have power, and we have a boost mode.
Okay.
And on the boost mode, we have 21 kilowatts in peak power.
All right.
And that is equivalent to 300cc of a petrol bike.
It's approximately 34, 35 horsepower if you would...
I think it's more, but I'm not an engineer. But somewhere around that.
Okay.
Yeah. But on the boost node, I think we have 9.6 from 0 to 100.
That's quite good.
Yeah.
Especially for a small and a lean bike, and as we can see, it's built for the urban regions, for commuting, for country roads around the cities. Yeah. And I think this is the perfect, the perfect riding mode for this.
This is not a bike for someone who wants to take a really long trip.
Yeah.
No electrical vehicle is for someone who wants to take a really long trip. So what we're aiming for is the urban commuter, which has 30 kilometers or 40 kilometers one way to work, and don't want to sit in a traffic jam, and want to have a cheap bike in terms of charging and so on, and don't have to worry about the petrol prices rising. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's
it definitely wants to be the first on the red light.
Yeah, exactly.
Screen.
Yeah. We actually had a funny situation with a guy driving in Paris 4 weeks ago. He went up on a 2.0, and the guy next to him also had a classical bike, but it was a petrol bike. Okay. And it was really loud. So he switched it off, and he tried to listen for the engine sound from our bike. And he was like, "What is this?" "Oh, it's a new Regent bike, but the light's green, so I have to go." And he just, he just left him.
This totally reminds me of my test drive with the BMW electro scooter. Yeah. Because there was the petrol scooter right next to me, and I just pulled the throttle and switched to the next light, and the guy who was driving the petrol scooter was just heading me at the next red light, and told me, what the hell are you driving? Oh my god, this is crazy. And this sounds exactly like your story.
Yeah, that's the experience, and also the complete silence. Yeah. Yeah, you get to use to all the other senses. You can listen to the birds chirping, and you can hear the road beneath your feet. Yeah, that's 2 of the most important takeaways when you drive this one. It's pretty fast, and it's also really silent. So yeah, it's really cool.
How was your first, or what were your emotions when you firstly took this bike for the ride?
I had a smile from ear to ear, but you shouldn't you shouldn't listen to me. You should try it yourself. That's the biggest issue.
I will definitely. I will.
Yeah, cool.
So one last important question. What do you charge for this bike?
We have a Scrambler and we have a Classic. For the Scrambler limited edition, it's 15,495, and for the Classic version, it's 14,495. Okay. But in like 2 or 3 weeks, we're going to release a new configurator on our website where you can customize your own bike. Okay, right. Yeah. And the base model on the Classic is going to start at 13,495, and the Scrambler is going to start on 14,495. Okay. But as soon as you customize it, it gets a bit more expensive. But then you get the feeling of, I've built my own bike. Okay. Yeah. Do you have several colors or seat bench colors, or what can I customize as on the Classic? You can customize the tank in 3 different colors. You have a black as a standard, and then you have a birch silver like an Aston Martin, and then you have a racing green. Yeah. Oh. And then you can also configure the seating. You have a black vinyl seat as a standard, and then you have a diamond leather seat also, 1 level up. And then we have the Rolls Royce of our seating, which is the Tännsjö saddle, which is made in Sweden.
Okay.
Comes in brown.
This one we can see here?
Yeah, comes in brown, and now new for this one, also in black.
I would configure the racing green or the green tank and this bronze seat bench because classical color combination, and I'm a little bit in love, honestly.
Yeah, and new for the classic also is a tank pad on the side, which gives that really vintage look of it.
Cool.
And for the older models, you couldn't configure the scrambler, but you can now. So standard scrambler is going to be black, and then we have a white and yellow striping on the other tank. And for the last tank, we have a black matte finish with 2 glossy black striping.
Nice.
Yeah. And there you also have it's going to be really interesting. So have a look out on our website in 2 or 3 weeks.
Absolutely, I will do this.
Yeah.
Alex, do you have any more questions?
No, I'm totally fascinated by the concept and by the looks and feels. I saw the pictures online, but up front, personal, it looks really, really the part. It's really cool motorcycle. And I wish you good luck with the concept and with the brand.
Yeah,
yes,
and
so with
much.
the start of production, of course, good luck.
Thank you.
For September, and I will call your dealer here in Munich and do a test ride because I'm totally impressed by this concept and I really love the look of the bike. So I hope this will be a good and successful brand on the market.
Yeah, thank you so much for the time.
Thanks for taking your time.
Thanks
really
for your time.
Yeah, thank you.
And have a nice weekend.
Thank you so much.
Bye.
Bye.